When creating Trans Bodies, Trans Beauty, I wanted to combat some common rhetoric used to describe trans people, specifically the words unnatural and disgusting. I achieved this in two ways. Firstly, I worked to incorporate the bodies into the landscape, making them feel like a natural part of the environment. Secondly, I filled them with light and flowers to make them beautiful. None of the bodies are whole or complete physically, because there is an idea that you must complete your transition to be considered transgender, and that is an idea to which I do not subscribe. Therefore, I feature bodies that are not complete, but are still very much transgender. The first body is to the right when at the starting point for the path. It is an orange color and represents a transmasculine person. The inspiration for this body was a tree stump. The knots and branches translate well into the half-operated-on chest I wanted to portray. Of course, as a whole, this body presents very neutrally and is easy to understand. The second body is the green one laying down. It represents a trans-feminine person. In lots of folklore, mountain ranges are likened to women lying down, and while I didn't fully commit to this idea, it was the inspiration for the pose. These first two bodies are very clear in how they are transitioning and who they are, while emotionally they present very neutrally. They simply exist. The third body is set into a hill. Since it is on its back and somewhat skeletal, it looked rather dead, but the flower placed where the heart should be, the leaves in place of the lungs, and the pulse running down the middle serve as signs of life. This body is genderless and this body is at rest, but this body is very much alive. This body is a symbol of frustration. It has the most motion of all the bodies and is filled with electricity and smoke, because transgender people constantly have to fight to exist. This body was more about the emotion, but even though it has very obvious secondary sex characteristics, there is no indication as to whether this would be before or after some sort of surgery. Therefore, this body's gender is hard to pin down. The second pair of bodies is much more neutral in their gendering and polarized in their emotions. This body is a means of completion. It is only the hips and stomach and back of a person. It has a solid core and is overflowing with light and flowers. Of course, this body does still have the fire necessary to survive. To me, this body feels more complete because it is a combination of elements from all the previous bodies, which is why it is at the end of the path. It represents a person who is whole and sure in who they are.